Hey guys, it's 5:30 a.m. here in San Francisco, and we're back with another automation tutorial. We've been up all night adding new features, fixing bugs, doing all of those things, but I've been getting a bunch of questions from all the new early access users about more complex workflows and things like that. So I wanted to get you guys something ASAP. The automation that we're going to show today is the YouTube transcript newsletter. And basically what this does is it scours YouTube, picks your favorite channel, and then from your favorite channel, it goes to the latest post by that channel. And then it summarizes that post for you and sends you an email so that you can see whether or not you want to watch it. And then you can extrapolate that to bigger, you can extrapolate that to multiple channels and then create a more complex newsletter. But for now, we'll start with there. And you can see the automation here. The last one we showed was 4 blocks. This one is, I don't know, maybe 15 blocks or so. Before we jump in, let me run the automation so you can see how it works. And just like that, you have a automation, you have a newsletter signed, sealed, delivered to your personal inbox about your favorite YouTube channel. Before we jump in this tutorial, you're going to learn about how to make inputs, how to create variables, how to automate multiple websites, which YouTube and Gmail, how to create AI blocks, and then how to check logs. So with that, let's jump in and start creating this from scratch. Jump in. So I'll create a new web agent. I'll title this YouTube transcript newsletter. And then for the description, create a newsletter for updates about your favorite YouTube channel. Amazing. Now you're greeted with a blank canvas. From here, usually you would just hit the plus button and specify which URL you want to go to. But since the YouTube channel that you want to go to might be different, right? Like you might have multiple different YouTube channels you want to check. So instead of doing it that way, we'll do this manually. We're going to create a input. So we'll create a text input. We'll title this YouTube URL. The title. Oh, and by the way, when you create the variable name, don't add any spaces. For the title, you can add spaces, YouTube URL. This title is what will display on the UI when you deploy the agent. And then enter desired channel URL. Confirm. Okay, now we need to fill out the specific URL we're going to go to. So let's go to youtube.com. And I'll type in the All In Podcast. From here, this is the URL I want to start with. So I'll go there. I can X that out. And I'll add this as this. And we'll make this a required field because you need a YouTube URL to start. Now, I'll create a new tab manually. In this, open the specified YouTube URL. And then the specified YouTube URL is going to be curly brackets and then inputs. You can click down, the down arrow, click enter, period. And then you see that the YouTube URL popped up. You can hit enter again and then close out the brackets. And now let's test the block. Great. So it opened the website. Now on the website, what do we want to do next? We want to click the videos button. We can use AI to click that button. So I'll X out of that. I'll hit new block, click the videos button. And I'm going to pause this YouTube video so that it... Okay, so it's analyzing the website, trying to figure out where the videos button is. It's figured out where the video button is, and now it's enhancing the selector so that it always knows what the best selector for that specific button is. Great, it's found it, it's clicked it, now we're on videos. Now, since we don't want to filter by, we want the latest video for this specific automation, so we're going to choose this video. And the way we're going to do this is we will click open the first video in the list of videos. Now there's a few ways you can create this. You can create it using AI like this. And a good practice with prompting is like, say what you want to do and then what you want the expected result to be. I didn't do that with the last block, but I would have said something like click the first video or click the videos button to open the list of videos, like so that the AI knows exactly what you're looking to do. Okay, it's found the video. It's clicked the first button. Amazing. I'll pause that video so it doesn't keep talking. And then the next step is to scroll, and we need to find the more button, right? So when you start, the more button isn't in the screen, and a best practice for selectors is that you always want the area that you're going to click to be in the viewport, and the viewport is the part of the screen here that you can see. Okay, so starting here, which is where the automation would start. Okay, so now we're going to type in scroll to the ... more button in the description to the viewport. Okay. So determining the block with AI, it figured out that it needs to hit the scroll element block. Okay, so it's found the element. It scrolled down. You can see that the more button is right there. Now, for the next step, you could create this block using AI, but since we've already created an enhanced selector, we'll just copy the selector from here, and we'll go into this. We know the next button is to click the more button. So click the more button in the description. Amazing. And then we'll paste that selector into there. We don't need to enhance it again because the selector already has, it's already been enhanced. We can verify it if we want, it's there. So that verify button, it shows you that the selector is visible. And then after that, we can test that block. So you click test. Now we need to scroll down to the show transcript button, right? So we'll use AI to create that. Scroll down so that the show transcript button is in the viewport. Great. And it's enhancing the element selector with AI so that, again, it stays consistent regardless of any UI, UX changes on the website. Amazing. Now, you guys guessed it. The next step is to copy the already enhanced selector. Like you could create the block again with AI, but why use AI twice? And we'll click element because we're going to be opening that, and we'll copy and paste the selector in here. You don't have to hit enhance with AI again because it's already been enhanced. And then we're going to click the show transcript button, which should, and we can verify the selector if we want. Okay, so the show transcript selector came up, and we will test the block. Amazing. The transcript opened up. Now the next step is to get text from the transcript button. Okay, so we'll come here, get variable. Okay. So we got an API request failed, status 500. This is something we're working on. The API failed because it's getting we have a lot of demand right now, and OpenAI hasn't upgraded our tier of our API. So basically, either when this happens, you can either wait like 30 seconds or a minute, or you can create the block manually. So since I know it's get text, I'm going to click get text, and then I'll put get the text from the transcript section, and I'll grab this text manually. So I will go to, and we are going to assign it to a variable. We don't need to insert it to a table. And we'll put this as YouTube transcript. So this allows you to reference that data later. And when you use this tag, it'll reference whatever data we pulled from here. So I'm going to click select element. And now you get the selector tool, which allows you to do a few things. You can do a lists. You can do non-list. We're not going to use a list for this. Basically, we're trying to select all the elements in here, right? So we're going to try to find out, okay, so if I come down here, look, the entire box got selected. If I'm up here, you can't find it. But if you select that, now you have div hashtag panels. If you press submit enter, now you have div panels here. You don't need to enhance this with AI. You can, but div panels is a pretty good selector. So we will now test. Okay, it figured out that that's the right thing to get. Once we get text, the next step is to use AI. So we're going to pull up the AI block here. And within the AI block, you can select between which model you want to use. We're going to use GPT-4o Mini for this. And the prompt, we can make it something simple. I'd like you to process the transcript from this YouTube video, and I want you to create a bullet point summary. Now we're going to reference a variable in here. So curly brackets, variables dot YouTube transcript. So you can see it there. And then you close out the brackets. Make sure not to use any mark syntax in. Now you can hit generate and you can get a preview of what it would generate if you use this. So this is the text that it generated. And now we're going to assign this to a variable. So email newsletter content. We don't need to insert it to a table. We can talk about tables later, but this doesn't need to go into a table. And now that we have that data, the last step with this is to close out that tab. Great. Close the active tab. Amazing. Now, for simplicity, I'll zoom out and we're going to create another block because now we're going to open up Gmail. So open gmail.com in a new tab. Manually to use less AI credits. I didn't run the workflow, otherwise I would have closed this out. But yeah, so now it's opened up Gmail. And then within Gmail, I'll add this to a separate line just to keep things a little bit clear. Also, if you want, you can drag and add notes. So these notes are just to help you kind of navigate and figure out where things are. As automations get more complex, they help out. Also, when you're creating automations for the community, it helps people know what you're doing in different spots so they can jump around easily. Amazing. So now that Gmail is opened up, we want to click the compose button. We can do that by hitting click the compose button, and we'll generate it using AI. Amazing. So it's opened up the compose editor. Now within the compose editor, we're going to type in, let's put Bytespace test email at gmail.com. and then we'll hit create. So this is going to jump in, and basically it's going to find this area for you, and it'll enhance it. Great. So next we're going to enter a subject. But before the subject, like I want to create a custom design subject every single time, right? So I'm going to create a new AI block, and I'll put, I'll assign it to the variable email subject. And then here, can you generate an email subject, the information from variable, and then dot YouTube transcript. And we're not going to put this into a table, but let's generate and see what it creates. Okay, I want to add, I'd like it. Amazing. So it generated it for us. So now that it's generated for us, we can input that text. So we will say now, or type in hello to the subject line. You can also create it manually, but I'm adding hello here because you can't add variable data into the AI prompt. So we'll just add that as a filler. So it creates the block and figures out where exactly the element is and then enhances it. And then we can edit the block a bit more manually to get it to be what we want. And it's typed in hello. Wonderful. Now, if we jump into this block, we want to reference a variable, right? So now type in the variable data to the subject line. And what is the variable? If we come here, you can see that the variable is email subject. Okay. If I jump into this block, I'll type in variables. Now with AI, when you reference a variable in AI blocks, there's a bug right now. So you won't be able to, you won't be able to input them directly. Like if you hit period, it doesn't show up. It just shows YouTube transcript, but that's okay. We're going to just input it manually and it should work just fine. So we'll click that, check, okay, it's found that. Now test the block. Wonderful. So it typed in YouTube newsletter. It gives us the AI generated subject line. And then now that that's done, now we want to input text into the body of the compose email. So if I hit create, it'll do the same thing as the last block. It's found the block. It knows that it has to be a forms element or a forms automation block. It's found the section of the compose email and it's typed it in. Okay. So now if we want to edit this more specifically, we're going to add variable data here. So the variable for this is going to be equal to variables dot email. What was the variable? So we'll come up here. We'll take a look. The variable is email newsletter content. Okay. So email newsletter content. And if I test that, it should type everything in. And now I realize it's typing super slow. So I'm going to come back here. You can go into logs, and in logs, you can stop the workflow. And we're going to change the typing delay. So the typing delay, this is in milliseconds, but we'll change it to 5 seconds. This is going to be super, super fast. Let's test the block again. Wow. Okay. So now it's typing it all super, super fast. And the last step of this, So workflow executed successfully. The last step of this is to come in here and say, now click the send button in the composed email component. So we'll type it like that. Amazing. So you can see the email that was sent. We have it here. And lastly, the one best practice for every automation is that you want to close the tab after it's done. And you can just type in close the active tab. This is important because if you run the automation a bunch of times, you'll just end up with like 50 tabs open in your browser, which you don't want. Oh, and lastly, when you guys are automating, make sure you only have one Chrome browser open. Don't have multiple because it'll confuse the AI as to which one to look at. And when it's looking for elements, if it's looking on a browser that is a different website than the one you're automating, it's going to say that the element doesn't exist, even though it does. Now that we are done, I'll come here just to show you guys it from start to finish. And I'll zoom this or I'll speed this up so that you don't have to watch it very slowly. But yeah, you can see what we've created. It's debugging. That's why you never have to maintain your automation.
The sun is starting to come out.
Yeah, it's a nice sunrise in San Francisco. Well, I have a call in a few hours, so it's gonna be a fun day, as they always are.